Ambassador Zarath's crystalline form vibrated with barely contained authority as she gazed down at the lone human standing in the center of the Grand Council chamber. The massive amphitheater housed representatives from 47 different species, each more advanced than the last, all united in their desire to maintain order in the galaxy. And here stood this kind creature, disrupting millennia of carefully maintained balance. Human-designated Captain Sarah Chen, Zarath's voice echoed through the chamber's translation matrix. You stand accused of 17 violations of galactic accords, including unauthorized terraforming, interference with protected species, and worst of all, refusing to acknowledge the Council's authority over your kind. Sarah Chen stood with her hands casually shoved in the pockets of her worn leather jacket, a smirk playing at the corners of her mouth. Her species had only been spacefaring for barely 2 centuries, yet here she was, defying beings whose civilizations predated Earth's formation. Yeah, I heard the charges, Sarah replied, her voice carrying clearly without amplification. Pretty impressive list, actually. You forgot the part where I told your enforcement fleet exactly where they could stick their cease and desist order. A collective gasp rippled through the assembled delegates. The Veltarian High Judge's tentacles writhed in shock. The crystalline hegemony's representative dimmed with disbelief. Never in the Council's history had anyone, shown such blatant disrespect. Zarath's form blazed brighter. Your insolence knows no bounds, human. We are the Galactic Council. We have maintained peace for over 50,000 years. Every species that reaches the stars must submit to our guidance, our wisdom, our order. Sarah's smirk widened into a full grin. Must submit? Says who? The natural order of things, boomed Kretak, the hegemony's military commander, his massive insectoid frame clicking with agitation. The strong guide the weak, the advanced shepherd the primitive. This is how civilization survives. Sarah mused, pulling one hand from her pocket to examine her fingernails with theatrical indifference. See, that's where you and I disagree. Because from where I'm standing, you all look like a bunch of playground bullies who got used to everyone rolling over for you. The chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates shrieked, roared, and buzzed their outrage in dozens of languages. Several demanded immediate military action. Others called for the human's execution. But through it all, Sarah Chen just stood there unmoved, that infuriating smile never leaving her face. Silence. Zarath's voice cut through the din like a plasma blade. Human, you clearly do not understand the gravity of your situation. We represent the combined might of over 400 star systems. Our fleets number in the millions. Our technology can reshape reality itself. What could your pitiful species possibly do against us? Sarah's expression turned thoughtful, as if she were genuinely considering the question. Then she shrugged. I don't know. Probably something stupid and stubborn that'll give you all nightmares for the next 1,000 years. She stepped forward, and despite themselves, several delegates flinched back. See, you keep talking about your advanced civilizations and your ancient wisdom, but you know what I see? I see a bunch of species who got comfortable, who decided that the way things are is the way things should always be, who built themselves a nice little club where everybody follows the rules and nobody rocks the boat. Her voice grew harder, carrying the weight of 2 centuries of human struggle among the stars. But humans, we don't do comfortable. We don't do that's how it's always been done. When someone tells us we can't do something, our first instinct is to figure out how to do it anyway. When someone says we have to submit, we ask who's going to make me? And when someone threatens us, the smile vanished from her face entirely. Well, that's when we get creative. Kretak chittered dismissively. Empty words from a primitive species. Your bravado means nothing against... Oh, I'm sorry, Sarah interrupted, pulling a small device from her other pocket. Did I mention that while you've all been sitting here speechifying, my ship's been broadcasting this entire conversation back to Earth, and that the footage is currently being shared across every human colony in the galaxy? And that right about now every human captain, colony leader, and government official is getting a real good look at how your benevolent council operates. The device beeped softly, Sarah glanced at it and chuckled. Oh, this is good. Apparently, the Human Colonial Alliance just declared your galactic accords null and void due to lack of consent from affected parties. They're also formally withdrawing recognition of Council authority over human space. That's impossible, Zareth stammered. No species has ever. Yeah, well, there's a first time for everything. Sarah pocketed the device and crossed her arms. So here's how this is gonna go. You can try to force us to comply, in which case you'll discover just how nasty humans get when we're cornered. Or you can accept that maybe, just maybe, your way isn't the only way. You cannot be serious, the Veltarian judge gurgled. One species cannot stand against the entire galaxy. One species? Sarah's grin returned, wider and more dangerous than before. Judge, you really haven't been paying attention to what humans do when someone tries to push us around, have you? She turned in a slow circle, addressing the entire chamber. We're the species that looked at a planet covered in deadly radiation, poisonous atmosphere, and extreme temperatures, and said, challenge accepted. We're the ones who took our first starship design, which your people said was inefficient and impossible, and used it to cross the galaxy in half the time your models predicted. And when your precious accord said we couldn't terraform worlds with existing ecosystems, we did it anyway and made them better than they were before. Her voice rose, carrying the defiant spirit of humanity itself. So yeah, we'll stand against the galaxy if we have to. Because that's what humans do. We don't submit. We don't roll over. And we sure as hell don't let anyone tell us how to live our lives. She walked toward the chamber's exit, then paused and looked back over her shoulder. Oh, and counsel? The next time you want to demand submission from humanity, maybe send a bigger committee. This was barely worth the trip. As Captain Sarah Chen strode out of the chamber, leaving the Galactic Council in stunned silence, one thought echoed through the minds of every delegate present. What had they gotten themselves into? The age of unquestioned galactic order was over. The age of humanity had begun.